Channel 2's Claudine Ewing continues our team coverage now from Washington, D.C. tonight.
We heard some very strong words today in the hearing. One thing that stood out is when someone said America is inherently violent. Is that so? Only you can be the judge. I had a chance to speak with Zanetta Everhart about her comments and what she thought about her hearing here in Washington.
Was shot and injured by a domestic terrorist on Saturday.
Do you think your message got through?
At the Tops grocery store.
I don't know if it got through, but they heard me. That's what's most important. They were there in the room. They had to hear me.
You made it very clear to call out racism, white supremacy, but also going all the way back to slavery.
Yes.
And when African Americans or blacks were brought to the United States.
Absolutely, the first currency of this country. My ancestors were bought and sold, right? We built this country, these buildings, right? So yeah, that's a part of the problem when they talk about the great replacement theory.
That hardening our targets, making sure our schools are safe buildings.
The other person to testify in Washington was the Buffalo Police Commissioner, Joe Gramaglia. You talked about some of the surveillance video that's out there and the GoPro video that was on the helmet of this killer.
Seeing what we in law enforcement saw was more than what was put out on the Twitch account. That got cut off at a certain point, but it's something that you can't unsee, and anybody that has not watched that video, I urge you to not seek it out. You can't unsee it, and I thought it was important that that message be conveyed to the members of Congress as to what we in law enforcement saw. What
you want to see change?
Well, I'd like to see these reforms adopted, universal background checks, an assault weapons ban. We do not need an assault weapon, as I testified to, that they're known for three things. The speed with which they shoot, how many rounds they shoot, how fast they shoot, and then the amount of bodies that they rack up, and it's terrible. There's no reason to have that weapon. The NICS checks, the background checks, that's a very important component.
On the flip side, there are those out there who say, I want an AR-15, I have a right to have it, I should have it, because it's my right.
And what are you going to do with it? That's the question I ask back. You're not going hunting with it. What are you going to do with it? And for somebody who thinks that that's a weapon for home defense, I urge them to seek out experts in the field and get their opinion on what they feel is home defense.
Do you think any action, anything is going to change?
We got to get through to some people to understand what is happening in the urban areas in this country.
The voices for change will grow. Some of the families say expect to see their faces more often here in Washington. In Washington, at the Capitol, Claudine Ewing, Channel 2 News.